UFC 316 is officially in the books, and Merab Dvalishvili has officially cemented himself as the GOAT bantamweight. Listen, man, this guy's the greatest bantamweight of all time. He's the greatest bantamweight of all time, and now from what we are seeing from this guy and the run that he is going on, I think that it is safe to say that not only is he the GOAT of the bantamweight division, but I believe that Merab is now dancing in territory of being one of the greatest mixed martial artists that we have ever seen. There's just nothing like this dude, man. There's nothing like this dude, and whether you like him or not, you have to respect what he brings to the table. And one of the most fascinating things about Merab to me is, yeah, we all know about the alien-like cardio, the alien-like strength for the division. He constantly improves his game every single time out, from going out there and 50-45ing Petr Yan, treating Henry Cejudo like a baby, like he's never wrestled a day in his life, going out there beating Jose Aldo, beating Sean O'Malley twice now, and going out there and beating the guy that I think a lot of us felt like was the answer to Merab and Umar Nurmagomedov. What's left for this guy to do? What's left for Merab to do in this weight class? He's already stamped himself as the GOAT of the division. And not only that, man, his skill set, it's unmatched, and he is evolving every single time out that we see him. His striking's getting better, his finishing ability. I mean, to go out there and sub Sean O'Malley, that's beyond impressive. It's beyond impressive. I didn't see that coming. Of course, you could have seen Merab winning this fight, going out there doing what he did very similar in the first matchup between the two, but to submit him, it's craziness, man. It's absolutely craziness. And everyone in the bantamweight division, they're cooked. The only person that stands a chance against Merab is possibly Umar in a rematch. Outside of that, everyone else is cooked, man. Nobody's beating this dude in the weight class. Nobody's beating this dude in the weight class. And it's getting to the point, I would like to see Merab move up to featherweight to see what could happen, see if he can win another title. This dude's, he's rolling through everyone, man. This dude's spectacular. He's sensational in his skill set. What's the answer? What's the game plan? What are you going to do? If you don't knock him out or you don't submit him, you're not winning. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And that's kind of what I've said for a very long time. But I had that thought that maybe Sean O'Malley comes in here. Maybe he takes some of the things that he was doing in fight number one, applies more front kicks, and stands his ground a little bit more. But none of it matters, man. None of it matters. Merab is different. His strength for the weight class is different. And the way that he is just able to consistently improve and add to his arsenal, this dude's becoming unstoppable. And he essentially is unstoppable at this point. How do you beat this guy, man? If you don't finish him, you're not winning. That's the reality. If you do not finish Merab, you can't beat him. You can't beat him. So he's got his next fight lined up. I believe it's going to be Corey Sandhagen, which again, that is the fight that should be happening. Happy for Corey to get the opportunity. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But we also have some big news as well, because Kayla Harrison was able to go out there and finish Juliana Pena, which I feel like none of us are really surprised that that happened. But it's the fact that Amanda Nunes is going to be coming back, as she went in there and faced off with Kayla Harrison, which was a special moment, because when it comes to women's MMA, I feel like a lot of people, it's like, right, when it comes to WMMA, but that is the GOAT of women's MMA as Amanda Nunes. She is the most spectacular female fighter that we have ever seen. Outstanding power, unbelievably well-rounded skill set, and her resume, it is the best of all time. And whenever we could get her around in the sport, it just brings women's MMA to life. And it's going to be a massive fight, because she has a dangerous challenge in front of her in Kayla Harrison. It's the most excited I've basically been for a WMMA fight probably ever, right? I've been excited for quite a few out there. This is going to be a mega fight when it comes to women's MMA. Super stylistically intriguing. Amanda's been away for some time. I think that she was waiting for that challenge to really bring her back, because she's done it all, right? Cleaned out bantamweight, 145. I mean, she's done it all. And to come back and have a dangerous challenger in front of her like Kayla, that's an exciting fight, man. So we'll discuss a little bit about that. So overall, man, I actually thought that this was a very fun card. I enjoyed this. We saw a lot of finishes. We saw a lot of fun moments. You know, it was one of those rematches that didn't have all the hype behind it, but this card delivered, man. This was a very, very fun card. So let's hop right into it with the main event between Merab and Sugar Sean O'Malley. Listen, like I said, Merab's the greatest bantamweight of all time, man, and he is improving his skill set every single time he steps into the octagon, whether it's the striking or breaking out a submission. I believe it was like a modified ninja choke to where he was able to get Sean out of there. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm blown away at this dude, because every time I talk about Merab, it's like, listen, He can win a dominant decision. That is what we know he can do. He can shoot for 20,000 takedowns. He doesn't get tired. He'll pick you up, carry you around like a baby, and treat you like you're the little man, right? He's the smaller guy usually, but he will pick you up, carry you around, and dump you on your ass. That is what Merab does. His pace is crazy. He actually has underrated power in his hands, but he just hasn't been finishing guys, right? And I feel like that's the thing that was missing from Merab. And to go out there and submit a focused, dialed in Sean who put all the distractions to the side. We all heard about all the things, Sean was doing to lock himself in for this. None of it mattered. It didn't look like it looked worse for Sean O'Malley than it did in fight number 1, right? And that was apparently the fight to where he had, all these injuries and all these different things. Merab looked that much more dominant than fight 1. I know Sean O'Malley defended the takedowns pretty well early on, and I was actually impressed by that. But it's just a matter of time, man. That's what it is with Merab. It's just a matter of time. You can defend the takedowns well in round 1. You can do well in round 2. But as we start to creep in to round 3 and on, the dude just separates himself. He just separates himself, and he was outstriking Sean out there. He was landing some really good shots on the feet. He was landing some really good right hands, and he had Sean on the retreat all night long. I thought that maybe we would see Sean stand his ground a little bit more, work those front kicks, which he started to do. He was trying to land some knees as Merab was entering, but it's the way that Merab enters range that he just makes it hard for you to land that shot. He doesn't overextend, right? When Sean was able to counter and knock out Aljamain Sterling or knock these guys out in the past, he gets you to reach. He gets you to overcommit. He gets you to overextend to where you're at a position that he can land that beautiful counter shot. Merab doesn't overextend. He doesn't overextend. While he throws these looping shots, they're these tight shots where he's dipping his chin, and he's so, he's such a threat with the takedowns that you basically are kind of shelling up and you're hesitant to where you're not actually digging in on your shots. You're not digging in on your shots. And if you are, you're over swinging and he's getting to your hips and taking you down. So no matter what you do, this guy's going to make you pay. There's basically no game plan to beat Merab, man. There's no way to beat this guy. The only way to beat him is you got to finish him. You have to finish him. You're not going to beat him over the course of 25 minutes. And now the fact that he's going out there submitting people, now anyone moving forward, now you got to worry about being submitted by this guy. And I'm telling you, at some point, he's going to knock somebody out because his striking and his hands are getting that much better, and people are so worried about being taken down and controlled and out-wrestled that these shots are starting to open up. He landed the better, cleaner shots on Sean, man. I just can't believe it. I cannot believe what we saw from this guy. I was expecting a much better fight from Sean O'Malley, but a lot of that has to do with this dude. Merab's just different. He's basically unstoppable, man. I don't think there's any way to beat this guy. The only person, like I said, in this weight class that has a chance would be Umar in a rematch because he could somewhat match the grappling. But even at that, it's like if you don't knock him out, you're not winning. You're not winning because the striking's getting better. And now, if you do get taken down, you can't just recklessly get back up, right? Because now he'll submit you. So what are you supposed to do against this guy? He's got a granite chin. His cardio, you're not going to out-cardio him. You're not going to outpace him. You're not going to out-wrestle him, that's for sure. And what are you going to do? Out-submit, out-grapple him now? No. You're not going to outstrike him either. This dude's unstoppable, man. He is absolutely unstoppable, and he's one of those guys that kind of had the hard road to the title, and now that he's gotten there, he's going to be on top for a while. And I'd like to see him move up to featherweight at some point and challenge for another title. We're getting to that point now because outside of Umar, nobody has a chance at beating this guy. And his next fight is going to be Corey Sandhagen, which is absolutely the fight that should happen, right? So we'll talk about that in a second, but I'm shocked. To submit Sean O'Malley, I just didn't see it coming. Of course, I could have seen Merab going out there and taking him down and winning a fight very similar to how he did the first time, or maybe catching him with a shot and TKOing him or something to submit him. I'm surprised, man, because Sean O'Malley's got pretty good jiu-jitsu skills. He's got pretty good ground skills, right? I know that he's an easier guy to take down, for Merab, right? But it's the fact that Sean was defending well. He was landing some good shots from the outside. None of it mattered. Because eventually Merab will get to you. It's just a matter of time. That's the best way to say it with Merab. His takedowns will eventually start to get to you, and then you start to fatigue. You start to question yourself. I think that's what happened to Sean, man. He was sticking and moving from the outside, which was great, but he was playing that game that he was trying to play against Aljamain Sterling. Stick and move, float around on the outside. That is taxing. It's taxing, and your feet are never set for you to land that knockout shot that you need to put him away. So what were you going to do? Go in there and outpoint him for 25 minutes? I mean, I thought that was a possibility. You got to finish Merab. That's the reality. And if you go in there and you just try to point fight with this guy, you're not going to outpoint him because he's going to win the control time. He's going to take you down. He's going to make you tired. And in the process of that, he was landing some really good ground and pound. And as you're getting back to your feet, he's landing those good short shots up against the fence. And then now you got to worry about a submission because it used to be you get taken down by Merab. I could just recklessly get back to my feet. He's not going to, nail me with any hard shots. He's not going to threaten with really any submissions. Maybe he'll crank on my neck a little bit. But now that he's got submissions in the tool bag, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, man. Like I said, the only guy that has a chance of beating this guy is Umar in a rematch. That's it. Everyone else, they're screwed. They're screwed. I was beyond impressed with this performance. Going out there, outstriking Sean O'Malley, landing good shots on the feet, dominating him with the grappling, which we all knew that he was going to take Sean down. And I expected Sean to stop the takedowns more than what he did in fight number 1, which we did see early on. It's just a matter of time. Merab's relentless, his pace, his pressure, and now that everything is, he's a complete fighter now. He's a complete fighter. It's not like he's just some wrestler in there shooting blind takedowns. He's super strategic, doesn't overextend. He's very smart in the way that he closes the distance. And you see him kind of going like this and dipping his head and kind of bobbing his levels, dropping his eyes down, making it look like he's going to level change. He just makes guys hesitant. He makes you hesitant. And it's now at the point where, like I said, what more does this guy have to do? He's the greatest bantamweight of all time. His resume is insane, dude. The win streak that he's on is insane. And the fact that he's consistently improving at this point in his career is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And his next fight's going to be Corey Sandhagen, which that's the fight that should happen. 150%. That's absolutely the fight that the UFC should make. And it sounds like, from Dana White's presser, post-fight presser, that's what we're going to be getting. So stylistically, look, what's different? Right? Sean O'Malley's got more knockout power than Corey Sandhagen, right? I know Corey's got the dangerous flying knee. Whoa, right? But if he doesn't land the flying knee, it's over. It's over, and I know Corey's really improved his grappling, right? We saw him, have, a lot of success against Umar, even though Umar was able to take him down and control him, and Umar was able to outstrike him, right? We saw what Merab was doing against Umar, right? Merab was landing a lot of good shots, right? Umar, is as good as it gets in terms of being a well-rounded fighter, and look what he did to Sandhagen. Destroyed him. What do you think Merab's going to do to Sandhagen? He's going to destroy him. He might 50-45 Corey Sandhagen, dude. Maybe Corey Sandhagen can get around in there. I don't know that he submits Corey Sandhagen, but at this point, you can't doubt Merab. If Merab says he's going to go in there and knock out Sandhagen, I might believe him. That's the territory that we're getting to with Merab. This dude is so special, man. Like, to go out, I'm shocked. To go out there and sub Sean O'Malley, it's impressive, man. It's impressive. And Corey Sandhagen, he's super smart. He's got very high fight IQ. He switches stances really well. He's a very dynamic overall fighter. He's coming off of a big win over Davison Figueiredo. But come on, man, what's he going to do to Merab? What's he going to do? He's got no power in his hands. Sure, he's got some decent kicks. He's rangy, he's smart, and, yeah, sure, he could land a knee as Merab closes the distance or something. Yeah, Sandhagen's got good submissions, and I've always said that about Corey, that when you take him down, you got to watch out because he's going to try to put you in danger of trying to lock up some sort of submission right away, but what's he going to do to Merab? Merab's going to be way stronger than him. He's going to just move forward, land those shots, close him down, work him, tire him out. Like we saw Corey Sandhagen. I know MMA math doesn't always add up, but look at, how Jan and Corey Sandhagen played out. Look how these different fights are playing out. What do you think Merab's going to do to Sandhagen, dude? Like, it's the fight that should happen. Corey has earned it. He's absolutely earned a title shot, but he's going to get destroyed by Merab. He's going to get absolutely destroyed. The only two people, in my opinion, that had a shot at beating Merab in this weight class is Umar Nurmagomedov, which I still think the rematch is competitive. But again, I don't know if Umar can get it done because we're seeing the improvements from Merab. But I do think Umar is the only one at this point that has a chance. And then I thought Sean O'Malley had a skill set that could possibly get it done against Merab because of the footwork, because he's got the pinpoint accuracy. But what we're seeing, it doesn't matter how good you are. This guy will find a way. And now the fact that he is rounding out his game to where he can basically do everything, good luck against Merab. His calf kick is underrated, right? He implements those leg kicks pretty well. His boxing's improving. And because you're so worried about the pace and getting taken down and you're so worried about trying to find those shots, it just makes you hesitant. It makes you hesitant, and as good as Corey Sandhagen is, as smart as he is, right? He's got super high fight IQ, one of the smartest fighters out there, right? I think that he will formulate a very intelligent game plan, but what's it going to be? What's the game plan going to be, man? What are you going to try to submit Merab off your back? No, you're going to get ground pound. You're going to get destroyed on bottom, right? He'll just ground and pound you, right? What are you going to get back up to your feet and, try to outpoint him from the outside? Merab will close you down, right? Outside of Corey landing a flying knee or something like that, he gets destroyed by Merab. He gets destroyed. Right, and I know that Sandhagen's really well-rounded, right? You could argue that he's more well-rounded than most guys in the weight class, right? Or that's not really an argument, right? I think that Umar Nurmagomedov, Merab, and Sandhagen are probably the most well-rounded fighters in the weight class, right? So yeah, Sandhagen, of course, there's the chance, right? Maybe he could lock in a submission off of his back or in a scramble. Maybe he lands that flying knee, a spinning wheel kick or something. Of course, there's a chance of that. Outside of chance, Sandhagen gets dominated by Merab Dvalishvili. The only interesting matchup, which it can't happen right now, right? I think Umar's got to come back. He's got to get a win over somebody, right? But Umar versus Merab in the rematch, that is the only intriguing fight in the division for Merab right now. Everyone else, they get destroyed, right? People are like, oh, I want to see Jan fight Merab. Why? You'll get 50-45 again. Jan is an even easier matchup than O'Malley, right? Because O'Malley will stick and move and is kind of like the cat that you got to chase down to where, yeah, Jan is incredibly skilled. When's the last time Jan's knocked somebody out, right? We all love Petr Yan, but be honest, man. Merab's Jan has the perfect style for Merab. He stands in the phone booth. He likes to trade on the inside. Merab just level changes, takes him down. His hips are right there for Merab. You have to be long, rangy, utilize lateral movement, utilize shots from the outside. You got to try to knock this guy out because if you don't, you're not beating Merab. He's the greatest bantamweight of all time. And with what he's doing right now, if he could go out there, beat Corey Sandhagen, go in a rematch against Umar Nurmagomedov, beat Umar, maybe he rematches Jan, I don't know. I want to see this guy move up and fight at featherweight. I want to see him try to win another title because I'm telling you right now, man, whether you like this guy or not, and listen, I'm not the biggest Merab fan out there. I've been very vocal about that. He just kind of annoys me. But the fact is, this dude's skills are undeniable. He's unbelievable. You have to be man first. You have to be man first. Who's going to beat this dude, man? Nobody's beating this guy. The only person, like I said, in the weight class with a chance is Umar. That's it. Corey Sandhagen, he's about to get 50-45 by Merab Dvalishvili. It's going to be sad because I like Corey. I'm not sure what Corey brings to the table. What's the game plan? Oh, I'm going to come in with this super strategic approach. What are you going to do? You're going to freeze. And then with you being so thoughtful and trying to do all these different things, you're going to be behind. You're going to be behind. So Merab is the greatest bantamweight of all time. Super impressed with what he did to Sean O'Malley, man. To go out there and submit him, beyond impressive. This dude is constantly improving in his skill set, and his coach even said coming into this, we want to work on being more aggressive, right? Try to finish the fight, do those types of things. And I was like, okay. When's the last time Merab's finished somebody? Goes in there, man, have they been working. Shout out to Merab Dvalishvili, guy's undeniable, greatest bantamweight of all time. Hell of a performance to go out there and beat Sean O'Malley because Sean O'Malley's no scrub, man. Say what you want about the guy. He is a super talented and super skilled fighter. He did everything in his power to come in and give himself a chance against Merab. It just shows Merab's just a different breed, dude. This dude is different. He's an absolute alien. Great win for Merab. Dude's the GOAT bantamweight. Okay, co-main event, we have Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. I mean, I feel like, are we surprised here? Are we surprised? Like maybe, I could have seen this going to a decision or whatever, but the bottom line is this. I said this coming in. The worst nightmare for Juliana Pena was going to be ending up on bottom with Kayla Harrison in a top position on top of her. That is just the one spot you do not want to be with Kayla Harrison. Obviously up against the fence to where she can implement her judo, get to some of her throws and stuff, obviously. But when she gets into a top position, she gets into half guard, she gets into full mount, she gets, into your guard. She is devastating. Her elbows, her power, man, and the strength that she brings to the weight class, nobody can match it. The only one that has a chance at matching it is Amanda Nunes. That's the only one, which is what makes that fight so intriguing, which we'll talk about in a second. Kayla Harrison, utter domination, right? And this is what I was saying back when she was in the PFL was Kayla was limited in the PFL, right? Because the rule change didn't come till not that long ago in the PFL to where those elbows became a factor. So I always said that was something that was really limiting Kayla throughout her career. Now that she could come into the UFC and just implement everything, I mean, who's beating her, man, right? The only person that can beat her is Amanda Nunes, right? I mean, this was utter domination, right? Outside of Juliana Pena being able to survive an early ass whooping, dragging it into the deep water, Kayla getting, tired and beaten up because, that weight cut, it's definitely a problem. I don't even know how Kayla Harrison makes the weight. I know that she made 135 on the dot, but she is absolutely sucked out every single time, right? That can't be very healthy, obviously. So her compromising herself to make the weight, that was one of the things where I'm like, listen, I think Kayla Harrison wins this fight, but if it gets into those later rounds, I can see the gas tank and the fatigue from the weight cut starting to show, but it didn't even matter. We didn't even get there. Utter domination by Kayla Harrison. She's an absolute monster. She's a beast. She's a freak of nature. And that sets up one of the biggest, if not the biggest female fight of all time between Amanda Nunes, the GOAT, and Kayla Harrison. So an interesting thing here is I don't believe that Amanda is in the testing pool right now. So this fight, it's going to be a while before we get it. It'll probably be, what does that put us timeline-wise? End of the year, early next year, right? So it's going to be a while before we see this fight. This is absolutely the fight that the UFC is going to make, right? They brought Amanda in there for the face-off, which I love that, right? Because that obviously builds it. But when you talk about women's MMA, the one that brings out the like the Conor McGregor, the John Jones, the Nate Diaz, right, of women's MMA is Amanda Nunes. She draws out everybody, right, because she's the GOAT, right? She absolutely is. She's got devastating power. She's incredibly well-rounded. But it's going to be interesting, right, because she had the fights with Juliana Pena. And if you're going out there and losing to Pena, I understand that, Pena, pulled off the upset. But Kayla Harrison, she's way better than Juliana Pena. And the judo skills, the overall grappling skills of Kayla, right? People talk about the judo, but it ain't just the judo, man. It's the cage work. It's the wall work. It's when the fight hits the floor, her jiu-jitsu skills, right? Getting to these positions and working in these submissions. She's a problem, right? And if you're on bottom underneath of her, the ground and pound, she's dangerous. She's absolutely dangerous. So I'm not sure at this point in her career that Amanda wins this fight. Right now, I'm someone who I don't think I've ever really picked against Amanda Nunes. I'm pretty sure I've picked her in almost every fight, right? But, since I've had the channel around, Amanda Nunes, even before that, right? Amanda Nunes, I was out there like, she's unbelievable, right? She's unbelievable. What she did to Chris Cyborg back in the day, right? She's spectacular. Amanda Nunes is the GOAT. This is a massive fight. And I don't know if Amanda wins it, man. I'm just going to be honest. I think on the feet, obviously, Kayla's going to have some problems because Amanda is a much better striker. She's dangerous on the feet. She obviously has that crazy power that can put anyone out. But I think that we saw Juliana Pena having success against Amanda Nunes. And I know you could say, fight number one was a fluke there. If Kayla Harrison can get Amanda down and get into a dominant top position, the fight will be over. Whether it's to ground and pound, whether it's finding a submission, Amanda's been away, man. She's been away. I know that she kind of stepped away because it was kind of like things are getting boring. She was waiting kind of for a challenge like Kayla Harrison. I think that she knew Kayla was eventually going to get to this position. This is a massive fight. I'm excited for it. But if I had to make an early prediction, I think Kayla Harrison beats her. I really think she does, as long as she can get her down, because if it plays out on the feet, Amanda will knock her out 100%. But I think Kayla Harrison can get her down. And if she can get her down, I think that she can stop her and get her out of there with some ground and pound or a submission. Kayla Harrison's a rare breed, man. She's just a rare breed. And people were comparing Ronda Rousey and Kayla Harrison. I've been saying Kayla is way better than Ronda. She has more tools. Her submission game is excellent. Her ground and pound, her wall work, and her striking, it's not great, right? It still looks a little green out there. It is improving, and it's getting better each time. She listens to her corner basically as like a step-by-step guide on what to throw out there. She's spectacular. She's a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, we know she's a beast. She's incredibly strong. And to add that into all of her skills, I don't even think Amanda can beat her. And if Amanda can't beat her, nobody's beating her, right? So obviously, this is the fight to make. It's a big fight. It's going to be a little while before we get it because I don't believe Amanda is in the testing pool. It's the fight to make. Super excited for it because the only hope to beating Kayla would be someone like Amanda Nunes, and I think Kayla is able to probably get that one done. So that'll be excited. I'm excited for that one. But moving on, Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pyfer. Listen, man, we almost saw Joe Pyfer get this finish, right? And I came out here saying, listen, I think Joe Pyfer wins this fight. I think that he is the guy that could be the first one to knock out Kelvin Gastelum. And it was kind of close to happening, right? Joe Pyfer, obviously, he's going to need to work on some things, right? Because we saw Kelvin have some success. But the thing about Gastelum he doesn't go away, right? We know as the fight plays out, Kelvin's well-rounded, right? He's not the best, mixed martial artist out there, but he does have decent wrestling. His boxing is pretty good. We've seen that throughout his career. And he seems to be much better at middleweight when it comes to gritting it out, getting into those later rounds, and starting to really put things together in the middleweight division. And look, Joe Pyfer, I think that this is a learning experience for him, right? He's going out there and he's starching a lot of these guys, right? And I've said this about Pyfer. He has probably the most power in this weight class, right? So the fact that Kelvin is able to eat those shots and survive, that's crazy, right? We already knew that Kelvin Gastelum has one of the greatest chins of all time, but to survive those shots from Pyfer, I mean, Joe Pyfer, man, like this dude, like I've been saying, is the hardest hitting middleweight out there. I think he's got light heavyweight power in the middleweight division, which is almost like a hack, right? But Pyfer's well-rounded. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's got good wrestling. On the striking, he's got a lot of power, but he's a little bit predictable on the feet, right? He throws a jab, big winging right hand, throws a short left hook, but outside of that, he's kind of becoming predictable. So I'd like to see him add in a little bit more tools. I'd like to see him kind of work on some things to bring moving forward, because as you start to get into the rankings, as you start to climb the division, especially at middleweight, where we know that this is a stacked division right now, Joe can knock anybody out. And I think that those shots that he was landing in the first round, they knocked basically everybody else out in the division, right? Maybe that doesn't knock out DDP, right? Because we've seen how good Dricus is. But Pyfer, he's got to work on some things, man. I think he's got to add a little bit more to his arsenal on the feet because, again, the basics win, right? But he's becoming predictable. And like I said, those shots, I feel like they knock out basically anybody else in this weight class. Right, and we know Joe Pyfer, if he can club and sub, or he can hurt you on the feet, drop you, follow you to the floor, and find a submission. I thought he would finish Kelvin Gastelum, but in hindsight, it's hard to do. It's hard to do, but if anybody was going to do it, I thought it was going to be Joe Pyfer. But either way, I still thought that it was a good performance by Joe, man, because we know how durable Kelvin is. We know that he's been in that crazy fight with Israel Adesanya. Gastelum's fought the who's who. He's been around for forever. This was a great win for Joe Pyfer in terms of building his confidence moving forward, the experience that he got from fighting Kelvin. But again, this is why they should have never put Pyfer in there against Hermansson in a 5-rounder, right? If that was a 3-rounder, he would have beaten Hermansson. But if you do Gastelum versus Pyfer over 5 rounds, maybe we get a different result, right? So that's why it's important when you're trying to build these prospects, don't rush them into a 5-rounder, man. So this was a valuable fight here for Joe Pyfer. He did get the unanimous decision here. I was impressed with Joe Pyfer because to go out there and think that you're going to knock out Kelvin Gastelum, right? Because we know Joe has confidence in his power to knock anybody out. But then for him to still be around, go out there and still add things up to get the win, I was impressed on the side of Joe Pyfer. Like I said, I'd like to see him add a few more tools to the toolbox. Dude's super well-rounded. He's got a great camp out there training with Sean Brady and those guys. Joe Pyfer, he's a dangerous man inside the middleweight division. Good to see him get the win there. Mario Bautista, Patchy Mix. I told you guys, man, listen, Mario Bautista, a lot of people I felt like, listen, I understand picking Patchy Mix. I understand why people would pick him because, look, he fought Magomedov, who's got really good wrestling, a guy that beat Petr Yan back in the day. We've seen Patchy Mix, how good he is, right? Bellator champion, and he has elite submission skills, right? Patchy Mix has unbelievable jiu-jitsu, but where was it? Where was it? He didn't even try to grapple in this fight, but a lot of that had to do with Mario Bautista. And what I was saying, man, is a lot of these champions in these other promotions, they come in and they can't even beat some of these top 10 guys in the UFC weight class. Like that's just the reality. The UFC, especially at bantamweight, is absolutely loaded. And Mario, a lot of people, they weren't giving him the time of day, right? They were just kind of hating, they didn't want to pick him because they were just hating on him because of the Jose Aldo fight, right? Where he became public enemy number 1 after that. But the bottom line is Mario improved. I said coming into this that he was going to be the much better striker in here against Patchy Mix. Patchy was flat-footed. He was straight up in the air. He looked like he was stuck in the mud the whole time. I mean, he had zero head movement, zero defense. He was getting his, head snapped back like a Pez dispenser against Mario Bautista here. This was a great performance by Mario and a big win for him, right? Because a lot of people, they thought Patchy was going to win this, right? Because a lot of the hardcore fans out there that do watch PFL, Bellator, One, and all those other promotions, like I love watching, those fighters over there. But there's the reality. Patchy, yeah, he's fought some good guys, but they're not as complete as Mario. And Mario, what I loved about his game plan, he didn't have an ego. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go in there and show Patchy Mix who's the better grappler here. He's like, no, man, I'm going to stick and move from the outside. I'm faster. I'm stronger. I got a better skill set in terms of striking. I'm going to go out there and pick this dude apart. And he was landing that right hand at will. He was landing some nasty kicks to the body. He was sliding in and out of range really, really well. And look, Patchy started to find some success, right? He was landing some good knees, some good kicks. But it was the speed of Mario Bautista, and to get a win over a name of a guy that was from an outside promotion, a guy that was a champion in Patchy Mix who's in his prime, right? This isn't like Chandler or Patricio coming over in their late 30s. This is a prime 31-year-old Patchy Mix. Big win for Mario Bautista and a bounce back win. And the fans were booing, right? It sounded like people were booing, and then what the hell were they booing? That was a very entertaining fight. But to see Patchy Mix go in there and not even try to get the fight to the floor, I was shocked. I picked Mario to win this fight, but I was like, listen, if Patchy can get him down, he might be able to sub him. To not go in there and try to even level change at all, not even desperately try to get the fight to the floor after you're getting battered around on the feet, I don't know what the hell the game plan was from Patchy Mix. It was strange. It was odd, but I think it has to do with the footwork, the movement, the timing, and the way that Mario Bautista was operating. He was significantly faster than Patchy Mix in there. And I don't understand Patchy Mix on the feet, man. He is flat-footed, zero head movement whatsoever. His defense is non-existent. Yeah, he's got some decent offense. Anybody can be decent offensively. His defense is awful. He was flat-footed. He was standing straight up in the air. Very good performance from Mario Bautista. I was impressed. Again, blown away on the side of Patchy Mix that he didn't go in there and try to get this fight to the floor. So again, very good win by Mario Bautista. I figured that his speed and striking was going to be the difference. Vicente Luque, Kevin Holland. Listen, man, this is the thing with Kevin Holland. I was saying, like, you can't trust him. You can't trust him, right? When he goes up to middleweight, it seems like it's 50-50. And then, early in his career it was, right? He went on that crazy, 5 wins in a row that one year, right? And then at middleweight, it just seems like it's more bad than good. But at welterweight, he seems like this is his home, right? That's kind of what I've been saying for Holland is if he takes things serious and he tries to go on a run in the welterweight division, I think that he can climb towards the top. Man, I don't know if he can be a champion, but he definitely could throw his name in the hat in terms of the top ranks in this weight class because welterweight's loaded right now, right? But I think Kevin can hang with a lot of these guys, right? And when he shows up and he seems like he, wants it, this dude is spectacular. He goes out there, he's outstriking Vicente Luque. He's, Luque tries to get the single leg, tries to drop him on his ass, and Holland's just battering him around while he's holding on to the single. And then Luque lets go because he's like, man, I can't get this guy down. And that's the thing with Holland. At middleweight, the guy, Kevin has the technique, man. He has good jiu-jitsu skills. He has decent takedown defense, but it's the size and the strength of those middleweights that gives him the problems. But at welterweight, he doesn't have those issues. He's a lot harder to take down in this weight class. His range, his style, super unpredictable. It's super tricky in there. To go out there and sub Vicente Luque, catch him in a scramble there, that was spectacular. To sub Vicente Luque, very, very impressive. I know that Vicente Luque is still a young guy and he's not, the Luque from a few years back. It's still very, very impressive because given what we've seen from Holland, if you can take him down and get to these dominant positions to where you can work your jiu-jitsu, we've seen Kevin Holland kind of fold. But at welterweight, this dude's showing that he's a serious problem. That's 2 in a row, going out there beating Gunnar Nelson, going out there beating Vicente Luque. I would imagine Kevin will have a ranking next to his name now. I'd like to see him fight somebody in the top 10. I'm being honest. I would like to see Kevin fight somebody inside the top 10 in this weight class because he is showing at welterweight that he has the skills, man. He absolutely has the skills. And we saw Buckley, right, how he was kind of just a 500 guy at middleweight, go down to welterweight. He's been on an absolute tear, and he's basically 1 win away here from beating Usman to fighting for a title. So to say that Holland can't make a run here, I think he can. And as long as he shows up, man, we are seeing what Kevin Holland is capable of. And in the welterweight division, I think that he can go to the top, man. I think he could go very far. Very impressive stuff there from Kevin Holland. He's long, he's rangy, he's tricky. Great win by Kevin. Bruno Silva, Joshua Van. Listen, man, I've been high on Josh Van ever since he came into the UFC. I've picked him in every single fight. We've only been wrong once, right, where he lost to Charles Johnson. That was a learning experience. He was right in that fight, got into the later rounds. Charles Johnson, crazy gas tank, crazy pace, started to just pour it on Van in the third round. Outside of that, Joshua Van has been spectacular. He's been spectacular. He's 23 years of age. He's now in the rankings, going out there battering around Bruno Silva, dropping him quite a few times. His boxing is spectacular. He's a top 5 boxer in the sport. His hand speed, his timing, his eyesight, right, for landing these shots, ripping to the body, bringing the shots upstairs, and his takedown defense, that is the biggest addition to his game. That was one of those spots to where it's like, man, if we see any avenue to beating Joshua Van, it's taking him down and you know, controlling him, looking for a submission or something, that is the avenue to beat Joshua Van. We are seeing the improvements. He is not only defending takedowns very well, if you are able to get a hold of him or take him down, he pops right back up. His eyes for seeing the shots coming is one of the best attributes of this guy. He is able to see shots coming a mile away. He makes you pay immediately off the break by tagging you to the body, bringing the shots upstairs. Joshua Van is a complete mixed martial artist, outstanding takedown defense, and if anyone tries to stand in front of this guy and box with him, you're going to be in trouble. He's spectacular. He's a top 5 boxer in the sport. Love watching Joshua Van fight. And I think that, for me, I think he should obviously get a top 10 guy now. And the fact that he's only 23 years of age and going out there, like I said, I didn't understand the Saruya matchup, right? I didn't like it, but I said, you know what? I think that this is a fight that's going to help Joshua Van in the long run. A guy that's just going to come in there that has really good wrestling skills. Joshua's just going to have to defend takedowns for 15 minutes, land shots in there to be able to outscore him. I think that fight is something that is definitely going to help Joshua Van in his journey throughout his career here. Big win for Joshua Van. Love watching the guy fight. Super impressive stuff from Van. I think give him a top 5 guy next. Azamat Murzakanov versus Brenson Ribeiro. I feel like a lot of us saw this coming. First round knockout for Azamat. Listen, Azamat is one of the, if not the most underrated fighter on the UFC roster right now. His biggest enemy is the fact that, yeah, he's a little bit older, but it's the fact that, we can't get him super active. We got to get this guy active. We got to get him a quick turnaround here. I'd like to see him fight at least one more time this year. I'd like to see him in a 5-round, fight night main event against like Alexander Rakic or something like that, or Jan Blachowicz. I think that those make sense. This dude, he is devastating. His speed for light heavyweight is spectacular. The way that he bounces in and out of range, the power in his hands, this dude's a problem, man. He is an absolute problem. And Ribeiro, he's a tricky guy, right? He's tall, he's long, he's rangy. He was landing those good kicks, from the outside. And I was like, ooh, Ribeiro's having a lot of success here. And then Azamat just started to get the timing, started to get the rhythm. Very defensively responsible, a complete fighter, right? Very well-rounded. He's got good grappling of his own. And the power and the timing and the speed on the feet, he is a nightmare for just about everybody in this weight class. I think a fight between him and Ankalaev, that would be a super intriguing matchup, given they're both southpaws, they're both speedy, they both got good timing and rhythm. I love it, man. I hopefully we get that fight at some point, but I'm telling you right now, I've been saying it for the longest time now. Murzakanov, he is the dark horse of this weight class. Going out there and getting a finish on a pay-per-view event like this, massive for his career. We need to get him active. We need to get him back in there. Give him a 5-round fight night main event against Alexander Rakic. I think that that's a good fight. Or against Jan Blachowicz, right? Azamat, serious problem, man. Guy's got devastating power in his hands. Serious issue at light heavyweight. Sergey Spivac versus Waldo Cortes Acosta. Off of watching it live, I thought that this could have went either way, right? I thought that, Spivac, I thought he would have success with the grappling. To see that Acosta has fixed and kind of patched that gap in his skills, which was going to be the takedown defense if it was anything. He looked impressive. He looked bigger to me in this fight. It looked like he added on a little bit of size. Maybe that was to help fend off the takedowns, but I was also very impressed with Spivac on the feet. He was landing some really good shots, but it was the volume, it was the activity, it was the timing of Waldo that got this done, right? Waldo he's a fun guy in the weight class, right? He's got excellent boxing. He's got good striking. His low kick is excellent. I think he got away from that a little too early in this fight. He should have gotten back to that later on because he was battering the lead leg of Spivac. But the fact that Spivac wasn't able to get him down, I found that very surprising. I was almost certain that Sergey was going to be able to get him down, and it was going to be a problem. If he was able to get, Costa down, I think he got one takedown, but Costa got right back to his feet. But if he was able to flatten out Waldo, and get him off of the fence and be able to get into a top position, I thought Spivac was going to be able to find a submission. But the fact that Waldo was able to go in there, pick and poke from the outside, land those shots and just outscore him, this was a big win for Waldo. And I was impressed, man, because to stop the takedowns of Sergey Spivac, one of the better grapplers in the heavyweight division, Very impressive stuff by Waldo. We know he's very athletic. We know he's got power. We know he's got speedy hands. To now know that he could defend takedowns, very impressive stuff by Waldo. Very good performance. Khaos Williams, Andreas Gustafsson. Andreas is a problem, man. He's an absolute problem, and he has got a very difficult style to deal with, right? I don't think that he's going to be someone that is going to be necessarily a fan favorite, right? You know, he looks like Bane, sounds like Bane, talks like Bane, like, you know, he's got the nickname and all. He's got that smudge you up against the fence, dirty, gritty, grimy type of fight that guys are just not going to be excited to accept a fight with him. And I'm going to be honest, he could beat a lot of guys in the top of the division right now with that style, with that pressure, with that pace. He just put Khaos in a tornado that Khaos just couldn't survive in, man. It was the pressure, the volume, the relentless pursuit. Gustafsson's a nightmare. He's an absolute nightmare. It's not you know, it's a very hard thing to deal with. How do you prepare for that? Right? You're going to have to be able to shuck him off. And the fact that he's able to get you there and grind you and just grind his head up against you, land those good short elbows, good short uppercuts in close, and then he throws these big, powerful shots, looping ooga booga shots on the outside that put you on alert to where you have to cover up and defend, because if you don't, you're going to get knocked out. And then he just uses that to close the gap and put you up against the fence. It's going to take someone with a legit grappling skill set and someone that has sniper-like abilities to be able to get to this guy, because he's very hittable, right? If you go back and watch his fights prior to the UFC, he is very, very hittable. But a guy like Khaos, who doesn't have the most precise striking, obviously, now looking back, that was going to be an issue in this fight. But seeing what Andreas brings to the table, he is a nightmare for everybody. You know, a lot of guys, not everybody, a lot of guys in this weight class. And that style, not many people are going to be excited to take a fight with Andreas. Very dominant and impressive UFC debut. Bang Bang Wang going out there and getting the unanimous decision over Ariane. I expected Wang to win this fight, right? And she was landing a lot of good low kicks from the outside. She was battering that leg of De Silva, was able to drop her, you know, from the leg kicks. And we've seen that as good of a striker as Wang is, she's very hittable. She's very, very hittable. And Ariane was having some pretty good moments on the feet as well. But it's the speed, it was the leg kicks ultimately that got this done for Wang. She was landing some good shots upstairs. She was peppering the jab from the outside. And that's why I'm like, not enough fighters use the jab, man. You can literally win a fight by low kicking from the outside, landing good jabs at range. And if nobody wants to address it, just keep doing it, right? So Wang, that's basically what she did, was bashing the low kicks from the outside, landing the jab at range, picking and poking, sprinkling in some other shots. But again, she's very, very hittable. That's something that I do not like for her as she's going to start to move forward up the rankings here. But this was a big win for Wang because De Silva was ranked. She missed weight by 7 pounds, which to me was just completely unacceptable. So shout out to Wang for taking the fight and still making it happen. Big win for Wang. That's probably, obviously, she wanted to still fight because she was planning on it, but she knew that if she won this fight, she would have a ranking next to her name now. Big win for Wang. She's super fun to watch, man. Like watching her fight. Jeka Siraj versus JooSang Yoo. Listen, man, I've been telling you about Yoo. He reminds me of a McGregor hybrid with Alex Pereira. That's what this guy reminds me of. He's got his hands out. He's kind of low. He's very dynamic. The timing on that short left hook, there was no telegraph. There was no tell. He barely even wound anything up and starts Jeka with a beautiful one-shot knockout, man. This was nasty. It was filthy. I was high on this guy coming in off of what I saw and looking for a fight when Dana White signed him off of the Korean Zombies promotion. Super excited to see this guy go on a run in the UFC. I'm a fan. His power, his speed, his technicalities when it comes to the striking, he's a complete fighter, right? He's very well-rounded. You know, we'll see that at some point because guys are going to try to take him down. Does hold his hands low, right, to where someone could possibly land a shot on him and knock him out at some point. This dude's special. He's fast, he's dangerous, and as you saw, you want to get wild on this guy, he will time you with a perfect counter shot. Devastating knockout. Highlight of the night was you getting that KO. Very impressive stuff. Quillan Out killed Ashmouz. I figured Quillan was going to win this fight, but I thought that it would be by sticking and moving, utilizing his striking from the outside, and to go out there and out-grapple Yanal for 15 minutes, that was beyond impressive, right? I thought that Salkild would just stick and move from the outside, and it was getting scary because we know that Yunal's got hammers in his hands. He'll move forward, get in there, try to dirty box, and let those big hooks go to where when they were landing, I was like, man, if one of those lands flush, he's going to knock out Salkild. But we just saw that Quillan stayed on his bike, was, utilizing the long strikes from the outside, and ultimately was able to just out-grapple Ashmouz, which to me, that was incredibly impressive because I didn't see that coming. Right, and I know that Salkild, he definitely fatigued, right? Going out there and grappling that much. We haven't seen him do that in a fight so far. So I figured that he was going to be very tired if he was not able to get a finish in the first round or two. Very impressive stuff. Salkild has showed us that he is a complete mixed martial artist, going out there, knocking guys out, and now going in there and out-grappling good grapplers like Ashmouz. Very impressive performance by Salkild. He is definitely a prospect to keep your eye on in the weight class. Very impressive. And last but not least, Markel Mederos versus Mark Choinski. Look, I've been saying Mederos is underrated. I feel like he's a guy that gets overlooked. He's technical on the feet. He's got kind of a tricky style. Will switch stances, pepper you from the outside. And yeah, we've seen the vulnerability to Markel is if you can take him down, you can get into those top positions. We saw Austin Hubbard do it, and I'm like, listen, I know Choinski's not a world beater, but there's potential here to where he could take down Markel, but I ultimately thought that it would be Mederos on the outside, sticking and moving. If he did get taken down, wouldn't spend a ton of time on the floor, get back to his feet, land the more cleaner shots from the outside. That is exactly what we saw. Markel Mederos, he's got a fun style. He's technical. He's smooth on the feet. I like watching him fight. Big win for him to keep stacking him up. He's on a crazy win streak right now. He's fun to watch. He's got a beautiful jab, his footwork, the little hip feints that he throws out there. Guys, guy to keep your eye on in the weight class. Like watching him fight. I figured it was a little bit too much too soon for Mark Choinski, who was making his debut. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss an upload. I would appreciate it. See you next time.